Good morning, my name is Fitra Hutama from class 3C, English Literature. Today I will be presenting my assignment chapter 8, Culture, Structure and Agency. 3 attempts at synthesis for this, and I will be making short version of this topic. The relationship with a system of meaning and human action has long been a theme in cultural theory. Even a theory must take a position on this issue. Some, such as symbolic interactionism and ethnomethodology, allocate priority to the actor. Others, such as neo-Marxism, Parsonian functionalism, and structuralism, stress the power of system of meaning to control human agents. During the final decades of the 20th century, cultural theory became increasingly concerned with locating a middle ground between these opposing positions. In the early chapter, we look briefly at neo-functionalism. One characteristic has been approached an effort to incorporate some of the insights of macro-sociology into a Parsonian framework. More influential, however, have been 3 other efforts at bridge building by Pierre Bourdieu, Anthony Giddens, and Norbert Elias. The first 2 of these scholars address themselves in an explicit way on the ongoing debate between micro and macro perspective during the period of the late 1960s onward. Elias' major work was completed much earlier than this, but was subsequently rediscovered and proposed as potential solution to the problem in social theory that were jointly having in several decades after it was developed. The Pierre Bourdieu, the French sociologist, Pierre Bourdieu is arguably the most important figure in culture theory and cultural research today. While the intellectual quality of his work is one significant factor in accounting for this status, the ability of his work to appeal to diverse audiences is equally crucial. With Bourdieu, there is something for nearly everyone. His work attempts to synthesize micro and macro levels of analysis. He is concerned with both subjective experience and with objective structure. This positions him as a key figure in the micro and macro debate, and makes his work required reading for those on both sides of that fence. He draws upon the critical sociologies of Marx and Weber, but in non-doctrinate way. This allows his theory related focal to appeal to the broad swath of central thinking that rejects more orthodox Marxian vision of class society. The fact that he sees his work as part of a critical project, moreover, provides with it a competitive advantage in the academic circles over other attempts at theoretical synthesis, such as those of Giddens or neo-functionalism. He has developed both abstract theoretical models and conducted detailed mid-range empirical studies. This provides credibility with both hardcore theorists and more methodologically driven cultural sociologists. His empirical work cuts over a number of fields, e.g., education, popular culture, the arts and discipline, anthropology, sociology, and thereby maximizing his potential audience. He has developed a number of concepts. Example field habitus cultural capital, which are both intellectually compelling and widely transposable to various research areas. Bourdieu early writing of a number of theoretical influence, including functionalism, structuralism, and existentialism. Some passages in this work are reminiscent of Jean-Paul Sartre and other Louis Althusser. By the late 1960s, he had begun to weave these threads together in a more coherent fashion and to develop his own model of society. As he worked through drafts of his most important theoretical statement, Outline of a Theory Practice. Bourdieu theory then emerged from a decade-long engagement with the both objectivist and subjectivist social theories. Having worked from both sides of the mythological and epi-mythological divide, he was in a unique position to develop an attempt at synthesis. Perhaps the best way to summarize this synthesis to an explanation of a body key concepts. Writing in the opening page of his outline of a theory practice, Bourdieu attacks a structural understanding of society. This main target was Levi Strauss. He argued that this embodied of distorting objectivism that arose thanks to his position of social scientist as an of Webster. From the perspective of the outsider, it was logical to try to construct abstract map of symbol system and to develop ideas from about social rules. The Strauss step to claiming that the social life is driven by these rules and causing deterministic fashion. Bourdieu argues that such understanding neglects the role of agency and practical action in social life, especially question of strategy and subjective emotion like horror and shame. At the same time, Bourdieu wishes to retain understanding of constant qualities of social structure and the superiority of sociological knowledge of a common sense. In other words, he does not think that false explanation can provide an adequate amount of social life. In an effort to theorize the relationship between structure and agency without reducing analysis to one level or the other, Bourdieu argues that within a reflexive sociology, we should think about the other way that our theoretical models are influenced by our social and social scientific location and try to become aware of our biases. Once you have done this, we can begin to move forward by considering sociological concepts and theories, which allow us to navigate the path between the perils of objectivism and subjectivism. Habitus. The fruit of Bourdieu on reflexive sociology was a shift of analytic focus away from both structural and subjective experience toward social practice. He understands practice as reflecting and reproducing both objective social relationship and subjective interpretation of the world. Central to this move is the idea of habitus. He sees this as a system of durable, transposable disposition structures predisposed to function as structuring structures. That is as the principle of the generation structuring practice. Habitus, then, is a pivotal concept in Bourdieu's effort to reconcile the ideas of structure with ideas of practice. It is, however, a somewhat elusive term because Bourdieu conceptualizes in a various ways. These are as follows. 1. As empirical tendencies to act in a particular ways of lifestyle, as motivation, preference, tastes, and emotion, as embodied behavior, as a kind of worldview and cosmology held by actors, as skills and practical social competence, as aspiration, expression, expectation concerning life changes and career path. These various aspects of habitus are summed up in that idea that it is a durable set of disposition and that are transferable from situation to situation. The idea of disposition captures the cognitive and motivational aspect of habitus, as well as those relating to behavioral regulatives. Habitus is closely linked to unconscious or non-reflexive activity. He writes that habitus is not based on reason, but rather like the impulsive decision made by a tennis player who runs up on the net. We do not stop thinking how to hit the tennis ball, or whether or not we should attempt a volley, or even why we are playing tennis in the first place. We just get on the game. Habitus. Bourdieu says something that allows us to react efficiently in all aspects of our life, not just tennis. Habitus in this is other like Schultz's life work in that it allows people to get through life as competent human beings. It is a set of resources and disposition that we carry around with us. in in our main bodies, which we can apply in diverse social settings. It allows us to improvise and navigate our way through countless episodes and decisions. So this is also very uplifting. The sting that tell that habitus is linked to systematic inequalities in society, partnered by a power and class. It emerged from these inequalities and produced lines of practical action which are always tending to reproduce the objective structure of which they are the product. As according to Bourdieu, those in subordinate position are not equipped with the habitus that will allow them to successfully enter into life-improving patterns of action. Instead, their habitus will equip them with this desire, motivation, knowledge, skill, routines, and strategies that will reproduce their inferior status. Bourdieu suggested that the family and the school play a crucial role in the differential allocation of habitus. This institution will to give people from all backgrounds an unfair advantage over those from working in the class. In order to find out why is that so and see why habitus can reproduce inequality, we have to look at the question of cultural capital. The cultural capital. Broadly speaking, there are three kinds of capital at play in society that determine social power and social inequality. Economic capital describes financial resources. Social capital is all about who you know. It is concerned with the social titles and ties that people can mobilize for their own advantage. A well-known example of this is the British Old Boy Network, which has assisted in the reproduction of power among males who attended elite paying school and Oxford College. These people then go on to be the member of the same exclusive gentleman clubs and advantage each other careers in areas like banking, the church, the military, and the public service. People who have been excluded from this network will find it harder to progress, even though they may have been equally talented. While economic and social capital has been investigated by others, Bourdieu distinctively contributed this theory of cultural capital. Like habitus, cultural capital is a concept that has several dimensions. These include objective knowledge of the arts and culture, cultural traits and preferences, formal qualification, example like university, degrees, music exam, cultural skill and know-how, for example the ability to play a musical instrument, and the ability to discriminating and make the distinction between the good and the bad. Bourdieu sees the cultural capital as a dimension of a broader habitus, and therefore as reflecting the social cohesion of its possessor, and distinction are broken now regarded as one of the most important social science texts of the recent decade. Bourdieu attacked the philosophical idea that aesthetic judgment could be made on out of several basis of universal objective criteria about what was good or bad taste. He showed instead that taste was socially determined. His survey research demonstrated that particular classes and occupational groups like French society, workers, academic, and technicians tended to have distinctive tastes in music, art, food, and so on. This confirmed his view that cultural capital of which states is but one indicator was shaped by social location. The idea of that taste social is hardly new, even if Bourdieu work in distinction managed to document this previously unsurpassed level of methodological precision. Bourdieu argues that the elite group define what is acceptable or valued cultural capital and what is devalued. The major way this operated in French society of this time was through placing a greater value on high culture than on popular culture, and by distinguishing the valuable from the trivial. By aligning legitimate and illegitimate cultural capital in this way, elite groups preserve the worth of their own skill and knowledge and thereby thereby confirm their own status. A high culture that is refined, intellectual, enduring, and serious is contrasted to the purple culture that is trivial and ephemeral. An important aspect of Bourdieu theory is the attention he gives to the question of the transportability of cultural capital. Unlike economic capital, cultural capital takes years to acquire and is deeply embedded in our sense of self. This makes it particularly effective as a barrier to social mobility. At the same time as making this point, Bourdieu emphasizes that groups can try to convert one form of capital into another effort to cement class power, pointing out the change in France in the late 1960s. Bourdieu and Paul Serron suggested the shift toward a post-industrial society was seeing the university system become more potent as a means of retaining privilege. They argued that the reconversion of economic capital into academic capital is one of the strategies which enable the business bourgeoisie to maintain the main position of the authors. The overall vision included here is of a struggle in which social classes jockey for ownership of the various form of capital. The evaluation of the Bourdieu. Bourdieu's supporters suggest that his work offers one of the best models of culture that we currently have available for social science research. Certainly a case can be made if his work addresses a number of key themes in contemporary theoretical debate. Ideas about cultural capital and habitus provide exciting insight into the form of structure of culture, autonomous role of culture and cultural struggles in determining both of individual and institutional outcomes, and able to theorize that relationship between cultural agency. Thank you for listening to my research about the chapter 8, uh, the cultural sector and agency throughout the sentences. Thank you for listening and have a good day.